Hey guys, Cooling here, back with another movie review. Today I'm going to be looking at Resident Evil Apocalypse, an action horror directed by Alexander Witt, written by Paul W. S. Anderson, and stars Mila Jovovich, Sienna Guillory, and Odette Fair. Now, I found this movie okay when it came out. I wasn't as excited as the first movie after I seen it. It was just okay for me. But the internet seems to love this one, and the fans, if anybody's a fan of this franchise, they seem to put this one as #1. Now, this movie starts off right where the first one left off. The Umbrella goes down to open the hive to investigate, see what happened, and doing so, they let out all the creatures and zombies, and it overruns Raccoon City. So they have to set a barrier around the city, a perimeter, and they lock everybody out from leaving. So then the residents are all trapped within the city, including the STARS police force and Alice. Now, this is a decent follow-up to the first movie. The setting and atmosphere is totally different since we're in the city and not underground anymore. And that brings me to one of my positives, the location. The set looks pretty great. You do feel like you're in the big city that's being overrun and the apocalypse starting. But I do prefer the more claustrophobic set that they used in the first movie because they were in a confined area. But that's just a personal choice. Now, this movie has great characters compared to the first movie. The first movie had Alice and Rain. They were okay, but this movie is pretty much all great for me. Alice is back with sharpened combat skills and doubles down on her action ego. like I said before, like they're trying to be like these big action heroes. It doesn't explain it well, but she also gained other powers besides combat skills. Like, she can tell if someone's infected just by looking at them. Like, she can sense it. It's due to Umbrella experimenting more on her, and I think they injected more of the T-virus in her, and her body bonded with it and evolved instead of mutating, like it happened with Nemesis, which we'll get into. We also get the cool Carlos, which was a nice little addition. He was an Umbrella soldier that was abandoned, pretty much left behind with his crew in the city. And I also want to mention the comic relief character, LJ Wade. Now, his dialogue bothers a lot of people, but for me, it just worked. I just loved his one-liners about GTA and...
GTA, motherfucker! Oh, yeah! 10 points!
his 2 golden pistols, and I don't know, I just found he was a great addition to this movie, since everybody else is so serious because they're soldiers or cops or, you know, none of them are really joking around. He just really cracks me up. But the chick that everybody wants to talk about is Jill Valentine, and for good reason. She portrayed the character from the game very well. She is smoking hot, and she is definitely one of the most badass women in the series. Definitely above Alice for me, and competes with Rain, probably even higher than Rain, actually. The actress Sienna Guillory, I believe. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but she really committed to the role while watching gameplay of the video games of her character and walking like her, doing the movements and all the aneurysms. And she did a really good job. She pretty much got it down to a T. Now, I'm glad that this movie explains why the virus was actually made, because the head programmer, he's wheelchair bound from a condition he has, and he knew his daughter, it's hereditary, so his daughter was going to end up the same way as him or worse. So he created the T virus as a way to fight off the condition that they have, or the disease. And she wouldn't become a zombie or a creature because she is also injecting the antivirus right after to keep her body stable. Her body's pretty much bonding with the virus to fight off the condition. And Angela, the little girl, that the programmer's daughter, she is also what they modeled the Red Queen off of in the first movie. But once you continue this series throughout the sequels, they kind of forget all this stuff. I don't know, how do you forget what you wrote before? Go watch your own movies, because they really changed the idea of why the virus was made and all that later, but we're not going to get into that right now. Now, they don't use much CGI in this movie, but when they do, it's done fairly well. Way better than the first movie, but better technology out now, 2 years later, and the bigger budget obviously helped. Now let's get into the Nemesis character. Now, this is Matt from the first movie that got mutated by getting scratched by the liquor in the arm, or one of the arms or whatever, and he mutated into this creature. They put him in, the Umbrella put him into the Nemesis program, and are pretty much using him as a weapon, as a tank. He's a tank with legs, pretty much. Now I'm sort of mixed on Nemesis. He does look somewhat like the games, but it's just his suit. It seems so stiff and fake. I find it's better than CGI, but at the same time, it's not very. It doesn't look like it's very accessible. Like the movement's not very good. And he mostly uses weapons like guns and rocket launchers and stuff like that to take out people. Which, I mean, it's way more action than the horror aspect. Even though he's this weird looking creature, pretty much turns this into an action movie with zombies in the background. And that's one thing that really bothers me about this movie is the zombies themselves. Now, they don't look necessarily bad, but the way they were shot is so terrible. It's that blurry, shaky cam. It's like almost like slow-mo or fast-mo with the blurs. And I think they used this on 30 Days a Night a few times when the vampires come in to attack. And I don't know why. You can't see anything. It's so fast and jumbled that for me it ruins it. Ruins the scenes. It really cheapens the movie to me. And I also can't get over how stupid Umbrella is. Like, they're supposed to be this billion-dollar company that pretty much runs the whole world, but yet they're stupid enough to go open the hive back up after they know that their security went haywire, that Matt came out infected, so they know shit went on down there, but yet they still want to go investigate and see, with barely any weapons or any type of security going in. It's so stupid. Actually, the whole final act is a mess with them, as they eventually capture Alice, and knowing how strong she is, and I think they even inject her more with the T-virus, and obviously she's gonna escape, and now at the end she even has like mind power. She's like Carrie. She can look at someone and make their eyes bleed, and it's like telekinesis stuff. But yet they just let her walk out. They could stop her and be like, whatever, we'll get her another time. It's like, how stupid are you? If she's that powerful, she's gonna turn on you too. And that brings me back to the whole helicopter scene before she gets captured, when they crash outside the city, and everybody's missing. They all flee except for Alice. They leave her there for dead for some reason, for Umbrella to pick her up, to just go and rescue her at the very end and pick her up, pretending to be Umbrella people. Like, to me, that whole scene, the whole act doesn't make any sense at all. Now, the way that Raccoon City is dealt with by Umbrella in the end is the most cliche zombie ending ever. Oh, we'll just drop a bomb on the city. Solves everybody's problems. Like, to me, that was a cheap ending. Not very original at all. Return of the Living Dead did it way better, and back in the 80s. And is ultimately a way better movie. So if you're interested to see how the events unfolded after part 1, and are into action horror flicks, this might be for you. I'll recommend it. It's not a terrible movie. It's just has a lot of flaws. We'll say that. But I'm still gonna go give it a 7 out of 10 since I watch it quite often when I go through this series. I usually stick with the first 3 movies when I go through this franchise because the later half is very bad. That's it for today, and thanks for watching.